Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
An anthropologist goes to Haiti after hearing rumors about a drug used by black magic practitioners to turn people into zombies. We watched The Serpent in the Rainbow from Wes Craven from 1988. And man, I love this movie. I'm going to say it right off the bat. I watched this as a kid, and I was probably 9 or 10 or whenever it came out. Yeah, this movie, I was like, this is an awesome movie. So I feel it's definitely undervalued, underappreciated.
Saul, did you see this as a kid or as an adult?
I saw this, a couple days ago when we decided to watch this.
Oh, yeah, that was your first watching, huh?
That was my first watching it. And, Paul, I am on the complete opposite of you. I did not like this movie.
All right.
I did not care for this movie.
Saul, go get Kim.
Yeah.
I was bored through this movie, honestly.
See, I saw this as an adult. I saw it a couple of years ago. I never saw it as a kid. It's a weird one, but it's more of Wes Craven's lore. He really digs into his lore here and his anthropology, interests, because he goes back through the voodoo. We'll get into the movie more, but yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's definitely a thinker. This is a thinker horror. It's not a slash and grab, make 'em horny, show him some guts and get him out the door.
They make him horny.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the one thing that I always got stuck in my head now, ever since you've mentioned it, is gore and lore. If you give me both of those things, then we got a good movie. This one had a shit ton of lore, and to the point where it just bored the hell out of me. I'm like, is there going to be a point to what he's doing with? Like, all of this backstory with the voodoo and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a point to it, and to me, I'm like, I just lost it. I'm like, I'm bored.
It's definitely a long walk to the ending. It's the scenic route throughout the story.
You expect there to be a showdown, and there kind of is at the end, but I don't know. Okay, having watched this when I was a kid, I definitely loved just the pure terror and dread that this movie gives. And that's what it's big on. It's not big on gore. And you know what?
Yeah.
It probably would be a lot better and a little more well-rounded, I think, if it had more gore. If they made this today, then through the roof with gore and I think you could take it, 10 times, amp up the pace with it, and it'd be amazing today. But for being 1988, I really love that. For me, it is the nostalgia because it was a lot of, it's late night and there's just I'm like, what the hell? What's voodoo about? This was probably one of the first movies that got piqued my interest about voodoo, and I learned the things about voodoo, through horror movies. So this was probably the first one that I was like, wait, what's voodoo? They can do what now? Because I'm pretty sure I probably had questions from my parents and grandparents. I'm like, did you know voodoo can do this shit?
Listen,
you know where I got my crash course of voodoo? And you're going to laugh at me? The WWE, when Papa Shango showed up and he started doing voodoo shit. I'm like, that is some scary shit. I don't want to deal with it because that shit looks real.
Well, okay. Well, see, then if that kid would have watched this movie back then yeah, you'd have been like, I ain't messing with that shit. So the movie stars Bill Pullman as Dr. Dennis Allen, who's an anthropologist, or I don't know.
He's an anthropologist.
He says he is, but
he is an anthropologist, which is what I wanted to be as a small child. But there's way too much school to be doing that.
It's grave robbing, basically, is what you're
saying.
Yeah.
Okay, because he literally robs someone's grave in this fucking movie.
He does, but the study of anthropology is not grave robbing. They've come far, okay? They've come a long way since then.
In the 50s and also into the 80s, at least, if we've learned anything from movies, that Indiana Jones and Dr. Dennis Allen are both grave robbers.
Yes, they are.
In the name of science.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, they are for sure in the name of science. But yeah, no, it's a huge letdown for those of us who chose to study history and anthropology when we find out that Indiana Jones is mostly full of shit. It's a major letdown.
Well, hey, this guy. Okay, see, that's the thing. Then maybe if you're an anthropologist and you work for a pharmaceutical company,
then you can grave rob.
Then you go into some deep shit, man. then apparently
you get a free pass. Hey, money is a free pass in this world.
Because right off the bat, he's in the fucking Amazon and he's doing this, and this whole movie was based on a book. So I think Angie read more about that, so we can talk about that later.
Yes.
But there's the guy that I'm assuming that Dennis Allen, whatever his character's name, the real guy who wrote the book about, I forget his name, but
Wade Davis.
So I'm like, I'm sure some of this is rooted somewhere, but I mean, who knows how much of it really happened or whatever. But
yeah,
right off the bat, he's like, he's narrating the book basically, and he's saying like, there's a bad feeling in the air, and even my helicopter pilot knows it. And then he's there with the shaman or whatever, and he's like, here, take this, and like, also, I want you to drink this. And I was like,
drink this. Bat, like, immediately goes on a trip. Immediately goes on a trip.
I think you have to drink it though.
You do. If they give you something, you have to drink that.
Like, what choice does he have? It's like, if I say no, like, they're gonna fucking kill me. But if I drink this,
they're gonna whoop your ass.
Who knows what the fuck? They're gonna eat me.
Hey,
like, yeah.
If there's a man who wants to give me free hallucinogens in the forest, I might just take it. I'm not above it. I would like to be respectful of their culture.
Yeah, I'm all for respecting other cultures, but I'm like, at what point I'm like, are you like a vegetarian tribe? Or are you low on meat?
Are you having flashbacks to Green Inferno?
Like, are you just trying to marinate me? Is that what's going on?
It's brine. Here, drink this.
Brine,
drink this brine. You'll pass out, and then you'll be soft and good to go.
I love when they show him on his trip where he's playing with his imaginary jaguar. Like, he's just playing in a field by himself.
I know. I'm like, and like that was his spirit animal, as we come to find, or at least Alfred says later in the movie that he found his spirit jaguar or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what if he had like a weird other spirit animal? I'm like, what if it was not like a jungle animal?
It was like an octopus.
Yeah, like that's.
What are you gonna do then?
Like, you're just suffocating with like roots or something all over your face. And they're like, I do have to point out that Bill Pullman did all his own animal work in this movie. He actually did the jaguar, a viper, and the tarantula. Those were real animals, but the IMDb trivia said that they were pretty tame because they were raised in captivity. So
yeah, and the one tarantula.
Well, you would hope the jaguar was
right. And the one tarantula scene that I think they just put the spider on him, and it shows him later where the tarantula is crawling over his eye, but those were fake tarantula legs.
The proportions for those fake tarantula legs and the real one. I'm like, I know it's fake, but I'm like, still, it's too close to my eye. Like,
no.
I don't think I could do that scene.
And see, what I think Wes was doing with this film was trying to play on our own fears, not so much trying to scare us by what was on the screen so much, but just kind of plant little seeds in our head that would come back to scare us later. Like the needle in the eye thing, like you don't think of it really because you're like, that man's dead, right?
Yeah.
But then later you figure out that he's not dead. He felt all these things. You're like, like right in the eye.
Think, even seeing it, like just even seeing the movie and like them poking the needle in the eye, like, yep, he's dead. I'm like, I don't think that's an actual medical procedure, but shit, I don't even want to see that. And I think the big thing for him in this movie, and much like Elm Street, I really feel like he was like, these things can attack you and get you in places that you don't think normally you're vulnerable in those places, right? You're vulnerable in your dreams, obviously, and this thing can come get you, and it's piling on more and more. I think he was really going for like a sense of like just that longing, like dread and like just fear, and like he's putting the terror into it more than just being like a straight out slasher. Yeah, because
there's definitely a lot of themes in this that is just like human fear. A lot throughout this whole thing, and
I mean, come on, being buried alive, and, being able to watch it and everything, and not.
But even just like getting eaten by the ground when he's on his trip, and like the ground opens up, and all these people just like when they pull him down, like that's some creepy shit. And then his pilot's just dead. Like, why is his pilot dead?
I love that when they pull him into the ground, he's just going through all those arms coming out. I'm like, I love that. That's such a cool practical effect that they pulled off.
And Wes loves that kind of dreamy imagery. He's always used that.
Yeah, that's why I feel there's a lot of like back and forth between like a comparison between here and his first Nightmare and things. And I think he really kind of like was taking those themes and adding the voodoo element and going further with them.
Yeah, but his.
Well, I will tell you this one thing. I will never look at a torture chair the same way again.
Yes. Oh, well, let's get back to his trip because I have questions on how he got out of the country after his pilot just up and died. That's some white privilege there.
Where the hell are you going to walk? And okay, well, as we learn,
no, he's still high and he follows that jaguar out of the jungle.
Okay, it's his
jaguar let him out.
It was his spirit animal.
His high jaguar friend let him out of the jungle.
It worked, man.
I love that because he just sees it's all mystically, and I'm like, this dude's like, just fucking high.
He's just in the fucking jungle, and it's like he sees it run that way, and it's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna follow that now.
Instead of chasing the dragon, he chased the jaguar.
Yeah,
the jaguar saved him.
Out there tripping balls, following mystical jaguars through the jungle.
I know, and even when he gets to that dirt road, he's still like fucking like hysterical and like
he's hysterical a lot of times throughout this film.
I'm like, I hope they are paying this guy a shitload of money. Like ridiculous amounts to where it's like, all right, you just own like 12% of the pharmaceutical company now because you brought back the zombie drug.
Right? Like, he does always have just a massive amount of cash on him for some reason.
Hey, it's like in the stuff, man. The corporate saboteurs. And like, we need to get this drug before
a bunch of money.
It's Congo, man. We need to get this drug before anyone else can get it. It's the same principle.
Oh, but then we find out that there's zombies in Haiti, and the pharmaceutical company wants it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you've been back for 2 weeks after nearly dying in the fucking jungle. After, I don't know, did that whole tribe die, or did they just
clue.
Like they left, or what? Like they killed the pilot and they just fucking
left?
They
said nothing about it after
they
fact.
Conveniently left his pack there with his magic soup that he had to make with the shaman or whatever. But yeah, he's home for 2 fucking weeks, and he's like, all right, you're gonna pay me how much to go to the fucking Haiti? I will be in your boardroom tomorrow morning. Thank you.
I love how when he gets to Haiti, he's like, I still feel that dark spirit following me. I'm like, it could just be the civil war that's going on in Haiti. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit. I know, and it's funny that the whole time they're like when he talks to the doctor, Marielle Duchamp or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know how you say her name, but he starts talking to the doctor, and like she sees the secret police or whatever the fuck they are, like in the background of her. She's like, let's go talk inside. I'm like, do you think that there's anywhere in this fucking country that he's not going to be noticeable amongst all of you?
You know, he's a white dude with like an 80s bowl haircut.
I know. And I'm like,
have you seen his skin color?
Even when they go to that club later at night and they're seeing them, like there's like 3 other white people, and that's it. That's the whole island. There's 4 white people.
There's
and
4 tourists.
And it's like, okay, follow the white guy. Which one? The one that's by himself. Okay.
I love though that he's narrating like the first time he meets Dr. Duchamp. That's how he says it.
Like Duchamp.
He's like, I didn't expect her to look like. He's like, I didn't expect her to be hot. Like I was just expecting her to be ugly, nerdy doctor in the middle of Haiti.
It's like some old guy in Haiti. You're thinking like it's just an old doctor. Like, nope, she's young and hot.
Mm-hmm. And then we meet
down to clown.
Down to clown. Yeah, she is. We meet our first zombie, Marguerite, who is crazy and cannot speak. But you see the senility. Is that what you say? And then they're in her eyes. She's got the crazy eyes.
She reminded me, just the look of her reminded me of the tethered one in Us, the mom.
Yeah.
I think she looked very similar. Just
she had the hair. Yeah.
It was the hair that really reminded me.
Wait. I think the one thing we do need to clarify before we go any further is these are not the zombies that we know, the zombie flesh-eating ones. There's the voodoo zombie, where it's just somebody who comes back from the dead and is kind of in between realms.
You come back from the dead technically, and you're
soulless.
You're
now.
Evil bidding. Yeah. You have no soul, so they control you and they can make you do stuff.
They've stolen your soul.
You visit people's dreams, and you take Annabelle to meet them, and while they're high off of something else.
That's not Annabelle. That's some voodoo princess.
It's voodoo Annabelle.
She's a voodoo princess.
So
and she's now in a doll. Prequel.
Yeah, so it's those type of zombies, not the Walking Dead, Resident Evil.
Yeah, they're not going to eat you.
Zombies.
They're just there to fuck up your dreams, pretty much.
Yeah,
they're evil dream zombies.
And possess your boss's wife, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And do the government's bidding of Haiti.
Yeah.
There's a lot of themes in this movie.
There really is. Like, this is It's against big government.
It's against big government, pharmaceuticals. Yeah. It's against voodoo.
No, I wrote down. I'm like, okay, so you know how some like financial firms like back in the 80s and 90s used to hire like psychics to try and predict the stock market. I'm like, so do you think big pharmaceutical companies after this was like, shit, we need to get some voodoo people on the payroll because if we could make this drug for
they
like,
for sure were.
Nothing, like
people in the 80s were into whatever. They're like, we have to research these crazy stories.
Yeah, like, all right, there's what in Haiti? Like, we need to get this and market it right now.
I want a zombie.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a zombie. Though there's a zombie in some lab somewhere. There's some big pharmaceutical company that has weird fucking shit like this. And like, imagine that. Like, your first day, you're an intern at a pharmaceutical company. You're like, who is that? Oh, that is Ungutu, the voodoo tribe.
He's the voodoo guy. It's our voodoo guy. We have him on retainer here.
Yeah, I don't know. Some weird stuff. He gets paid more than both of us combined. Really?
Yeah. He does excellent work, though. What kind of work? Voodoo work? I don't know.
You think Viagra works because it's an actual drug?
The voodoo. That's what our pharmaceutical, that's what we're paying for, is the actual voodoo rituals that need to be done. Oh, I love that there's one line that Lucien, who they go to help find the zombie, he says, in Haiti, there are secrets we keep even from ourselves. Like, this guy is just full of great one-liners. Like, very ominous one-liners throughout the whole film, but very great one-liners.
And none of them help either.
No,
like,
they're not helpful at all.
They're just like, what are you? No. He's speaking in metaphors all the fucking time.
So who did you guys think of when you first saw Lucien? What movie?
I forget because he's been in everything, but
Terminator. All I can think of was Terminator, the first one.
That's probably
the cop. That's the only thing I can think of is like, where's Arnold?
It was him and Lance Henriksen that were the two detectives that talked to him.
And Alfred was in it too. I know you talked about him earlier too, but I don't think I've really ever seen him in any other movie other than Batman as Alfred. So to see him in something else was a little odd to me.
He's been in a million things. Man.
Yeah,
he was in Sleepy Hollow with he has like this weird. He's part of that weird like British Rat Pack to where it's like all of them like
was
Cushing.
he in Harry Potter? He had to have been in Harry Potter.
I'm sure he wasn't. Well, he might
Every
have been
British
dead. I think he
actor.
died in like.
No, was he?
Yeah, I don't know. He died in like the late 90s, I think. Yeah, he's been dead for a while. So.
Well, he would have been in Harry Potter.
Like Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, like all those guys were like this weird British rat pack that like always hung out with each other.
Yeah, like a weird dark British rat pack.
Like dark movies.
Oh, and I love how when they're at his club, the doctor gets possessed and starts dancing, and then again he has one of those lines. He's like, "For Marcel, possession is as natural as breathing." I was like, "What? That's not normal." Like, no, nobody should just be possessed as natural as breathing. Like that's suspect. Don't allow yourself to be possessed.
I feel like his club was so like cheesy. Like it was definitely like a cheesy tourist trap.
Oh yeah.
Like it made me think of like like luau's in Hawaii. Like just those like you have to do it because you're in Hawaii.
And it's a very like Hollywood version of.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But
it
was funny to me that I'm like it made me think of like the Love Boat. It was like voodoo is in the air. And then that's how Marielle got possessed, right? Because then I wrote down like Marielle's possessed and her spirit is horny. Because she immediately starts doing a lap dance for Dr. Dennis. And it doesn't end well. And why does Lucien able to like make that one possessed guy like just go to sleep by covering his face? It was like this weird chicken thing where he was like, "You sleep now."
Voodoo.
You're like, okay.
You're like, you go to sleep. Like, go to sleep.
Oh, again, and another reference, Get Out, when he taps the glass, and then the voodoo guy starts going crazy. So there. So
Paul's just all about
I'm on to you, Jordan Peele.
Well, I think to your point, to me, it seemed like, it was a little touristy because they're like, oh, this is part of the show, but they don't realize this dude's about to start killing people.
Oh, when he throws that fucker, he just is like, pick up guy, throw him across the room.
And I love that the three other white people that were there as tourists were like, yeah, they start clapping. I'm like, this is not part of the show.
I know. I'm like, why are you bitches clapping?
They are going to kill you.
Like that man had a machete. He almost knifed his boss real quick, and then they had to like toss him like a chicken. And then Marielle's still possessed with God knows who that's horny as fuck.
Marielle was just horny.
I know. Was it?
Her and Dr. Allen were just all about the horny.
Well, hey, they found the nearest cave they could after they're like, oh my God.
After that religious experience they had.
Yeah.
It's the ritualistic sex that they needed now.
It's voodoo.
Oh, but they find their zombie that they're looking for. His name is Christophe. They find him in the cemetery because he does not. He says, "I do not belong where living is."
When they go to his village, they run into Juanita from Billy Madison.
They do.
Quick.
They
and
do.
She's like,
Billy Madison's housekeeper.
And she's like, "You can stay and help me shave my armpits." I got a snack pack for you.
A snack pack.
I know. He's like, I thought I was a snack pack.
But she has nothing to tell them. Juanita has nothing to tell them. She is the voodoo priestess of the village, right?
She needed a death. I needed her to die. We needed
a couple deaths.
She was on the side of was it Ray Trod?
I do not remember. I just called him the Bokor because that's the evil spirit.
It's probably like Ray Tro. I don't know how you say it. It looks like Ray Trod to my
I knew I was going to butcher it, so I just went with the Bokor. Yeah, the Bokor, because that's what they call the demon.
She's like, one of his underlings or like underbosses or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I love how they're color coordinated too. That's very convenient for us to know who's on what side when they're all wearing red.
Yes, the red and the white. Yes, we really need that differentiation. But they find Christoph, who died and was buried, and he tells them, and this is the first kind of like psychological horror thing that you get into with Wes. He tells them that he remembers everything. He remembers being buried. He remembers, waking up. And
well, yeah, you see that he has a tear in his eye as they're burying him in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like
terror, dread.
Yeah, so it's basically putting into this idea that they buried him and he went crazy under there. And
grew some dreads.
Grew dreads, yes.
Pretty nice dreads. He's got a good head of hair.
Beautiful dreads.
Yeah, they were well maintained.
Yes, they were.
In the underworld? I don't know what he doing. No, this is after Marielle tells Dennis he's a piece of shit. And she's like,
yes, because they float.
That's how you can walk on water, you piece of shit. And then she walks away and Christoph's like, I am here.
Well, basically, that's
I have risen.
Dr. Allen was like, you're just trying to scam the pharmaceutical company. It's like, listen, bitch, all right?
Well,
you're a piece of shit.
It's not your money anyway.
Right?
Master.
Come on, Dennis. Get it together.
Dennis.
But they find out that it's a magical powder. So they have to go on the hunt for this magical powder. And they get back to Dennis's hotel room and they find dead animals, which is never a good sign. You never want to find dead animals in your hotel room.
I wrote down the dead pig was just, it was part of breakfast because it was like, we know how much you Americans like bacon. So they're like, there you are.
And I was like, what if it's like a protection spell?
I know.
And he's like all just scared.
Well, how do you know?
You don't know. That's the thing. You don't know.
Like, okay, can I consult my voodoo for dummies? Or like, is a pig bad?
Even they go to the voodoo wedding immediately after this. They go to Lucien to see the voodoo wedding.
But those were doves, and doves are always like...
But still, there's like birds and like writing on the wall. I'm like, I have no differentiator between the
wedding
good versus
scene,
bad.
I'm like, I've always wanted to get married while a guy's just running around with a machete. Like, No, but when have doves ever been a sign of anything bad? They've always been good. Anytime you see a dove, like in movies and
unless
literature,
it's a dead bird,
like everywhere,
dead dove, and then
done
it's
killing
bad.
these birds.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. If
birds carry disease. Either way, horror PSA for this week: don't play with dead or live birds.
Fuck birds is my PSA. I'm not defending the dove. I'm just saying they're a symbol of peace and joy and like harmony, but fuck birds in the ass is what I'm saying.
No, don't fuck
care.
Birds in the ass.
No,
do not fuck
I'm not
birds
telling
in the
people
ass.
to. I'm just saying fuck them in the ass.
No, not in the ass.
No,
Paul,
I'm saying don't do it.
Or PSA, don't fuck any birds in the ass or anywhere else.
Unless you're another
That's
bird.
called bestiality.
Unless you're another bird.
Yes,
you don't know who
the Horror
is.
PSA podcast does not condone
I'm not condoning
don't commit bestiality.
I'm just saying fuck birds, man.
Don't fuck birds,
I'm not
Paul.
saying I'm not saying to fuck birds as a verb. I'm saying fuck you birds. How's that? But not for me.
There you go.
I will punch a bird one day. It's gonna happen.
So they go to find
Probably a fucking
the
goof.
guy that has the powder, and his name is Mozart.
I love Mozart.
I know.
Yes.
He's such a haggling character. He's that guy that's got all 12
Wives.
No, 12 shirts that'll like just get him into anything. Like,
Hey,
like he's got a shirt for the airport. He's got a shirt for.
Yeah, he's the guy that knows the guys.
Yes.
He's got guys.
He's got guys
He's
in
got a guy for
everywhere.
that.
Yes,
All
but
right,
we
I need to
meet
get on this plane.
Mozart, and he immediately starts haggling the price of this powder.
I know. He stops the illegal. Well, I don't know if it's illegal in Haiti, but he stops the cockfight and was like, "What do you want?" Like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we noticed you when you walked in. We've known you've been here all week.
Yes, we've seen you come in.
We know who you are.
What do they call him? Blanc? They just call him White, right?
Yeah. They've been like, hello, Blanc.
They don't even bother with his name. They just, you, Blanc. You over there, Blanc guy.
What do you want, Blanc? $100.
Oh, but he kills the goat just to prove that his powder works. But, that sneaky doctor, he marks him with a knife.
You all made fun of people as children. Like, I'm going to mark this and see. Yeah, we all did that trick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, whatever it takes. That's what I'm saying. Dr. Dennis Allen, he's been around. Like, this is his element, right? Like, I would trust him in, like, a regular zombie outbreak because I'd be like, he knows what the fuck to do. Like, he knows how to get in and out of places and shit with, I mean, hardly... He has been seen because it's kind of hard not to in Haiti when you're Dr. Dennis Allen from Boston, but...
He knows tricks of the trade.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, he's in his element with this whole thing. Like, this is not his first fucking rodeo. I mean, he just ran and chased his Jaguar for 200 miles in the Amazon
to
get the fuck out.
He tripped balls, found a Jaguar, got himself out of the jungle.
I know, because even after he gets tortured, he's like, it's just a nail in the sack. I'll be all right.
Oy.
I'm like, all right, dude.
Is that what it was? Because I was trying to figure out what it actually was.
Yeah, it was a nail through the scrot. So nail through the sack, yep.
His scrotum was crucified.
Yeah, he said it was intact, but there's a hole.
There's two holes.
There's an entrance wound and an exit wound.
There's two holes.
Yes. But Mozart tells him that he's going to have enough for 10 zombies. But then they go on their little voodoo Catholic pilgrimage.
Wait a minute. Hold on here. He had that fucking vision in the Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Had that whole fucking vision. And then the first night at Lucien's, and he sees Ray Trod or whatever his name is, right? I'm like, wouldn't that be like your indication? Be like, okay, that was a dude that I saw that, before some evil shit went down. And then before, while I was still tripping balls and fell down that hole full of arms. Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever see a man that you've never seen before in your life during a trip, and then you see that man in real life afterwards, you need to run away from that man.
Especially because I've read that your brain cannot create new faces. So if you dream of someone that you don't know, then you can't
get the fuck away from that person. You can't
dream of people you don't know. Like, that's the thing in your dreams. So if it's someone you've literally never seen before, then this shit is real. I don't care how much the pharmaceutical company get the fuck out.
Peace out, bitches.
Send a dude with darker skin in to kind of covert this shit. Fuck, I mean, the pharmaceutical company will be like, look, here's a number for Mozart. Call this dude. He will get you what you want. I am out. My scrotum is intact, and I am done. Fuck you, Ray Trod.
I don't even know how after he gets the scrot thing, he's just like, yep, let's go finish making this powder.
Yeah, he's like, let's finish it and get out of here. I get that, but then it's like once he gets to Mozart, and Mozart's like, it's going to take 3 days. I'm like, okay.
Mail it to me.
Mail it.
Damn, UPS it to me.
So was the voodoo chick helping him then?
I don't know.
Because at first the dream, when Christoph brings her after the pilgrimage, and she does that whole thing where she opens the mouth and the snake comes out and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. It seems like he's just trying to scare him. So maybe she's trying to scare him to just go home. He's like, you stupid ass. You should have left already. What are you fucking doing here?
He's like, you got a hole through your ball sack and you're still not leaving.
I put the voodoo priestess bride. That's what I called her. Because they just said that she was a priestess, but I'm like, why is this bitch in a wedding dress?
She's a wedding dress and soccer shoes.
She's got like a full wedding dress. Like even a ornate veil.
She's the devil's bride. Yeah.
But yeah, that's when they go. So they go and they mark the goat that Mozart has killed. And that's when they go on their voodoo Catholic pilgrimage and fuck in the cave. And then they they sleep on the ground and like snakes crawl on them. And I'm like,
I know. My whole thing about that is like, it's funny to me is like, we decided to lose ourselves in the pilgrimage. I'm like, there is nowhere that you are going to go in this country where they are not going to know where you are.
What you're doing.
Where's that white guy at? Oh, he walked down there. With
he went up to the
way.
pilgrimage. We'll go up there tonight and scare the shit out of him. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I wish all religion was like that, where you just get drunk, climb a mountain, and then get to the top of the mountain and get drunk. And then, not sleeping in bugs and
all
snakes,
that
but maybe if there's a nice, like cabin or retreat up there, some little, I don't know, something nice.
Oh,
that's what
Airbnb.
That's what I rent.
An Airbnb, yeah.
Airbnb.
Well, hopefully they don't have any voodoo priestess brides with snake
Yes,
snake tongues that pop out of their mouth.
You can Airbnb a yurt that was formerly owned by a voodoo priestess. She may or may not be coming back, so...
As long as it's an ethically sourced yurt, then I'm okay.
Ethically sourced yurt?
Can't make any,
I thought you were going to say ethically sourced voodoo princess. Priestess. Excuse me.
Oh, but the waters that they swim in are healing and also aphrodisiac.
No. She says these waters are healing. I'm like, these waters are horny, baby, because in 2 seconds, like, and he was just like, let me wax your collarbone, baby. With this water.
Very weird sex scene too.
Yeah.
Very like intense that they focus in on their faces for a long time. And her specifically.
No, she was possessed. I'm like, who the fuck was fucking Dennis then? She was possessed by somebody during that is what I took it as. So
she was being ridden, or she was
being ridden while riding.
She was riding more than one person then. Whoever was possessing her was riding 2 people.
No, someone was riding her, riding him.
Yes.
That's what it is.
So yes, whoever was possessing her was riding 2 people.
Well, I guess. So that's what you said. Right. Yes. It's a double ride. So is that technically a 3-way?
It's a 3. Is it a devil's 3-way technically then?
Well, I don't know. Was it the possessed person a guy or a girl?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because apparently people just jump in and out of Maricel. People just blow in and out of her body.
Wow, just slut shaming her, Angie. Jesus.
Hey, I'm possessed shaming her, okay? I'm not slut shaming her.
No, it was
Get that dick, girl. I'm saying don't let random souls come into your body, okay?
It was a standard Haiti voodoo 3-way is what it was. Haiti voodoo pilgrimage 3-way.
Gotcha.
There you go. That's what the yurt's for.
Well, whoever got to come, because we get to watch it, she comes while we're focused in on her face.
It's a spiritual.
Yes.
It's ectoplasm.
The waps are everywhere. Then Dr. Allen gets kidnapped by the government.
She stops and turns him around. He's like, what are you doing? Oh my God, how are you doing that?
Yes, and he gets a nail through the sack, and that guy's a dick about it, but he's warned once before. The guy's like, look, you got to get the fuck out of the country. You're not here. We know what you're doing here. Like, you need to leave. He tells him.
I came for the pilgrimage and sex.
Which
I've done.
Now leave. Now you can go.
Yeah. Like, you can leave
I'm
now.
sorry, doctor. I have to put the nail in your scrot.
Oh, that's not yet, though. That's later.
No,
no, it's not. That's not until later. He gets a warning first.
Oh, that's right, because they're in the Jeep.
You get a stern talking to.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he gets a stern
because they're in the Jeep,
to.
And that's when the guy's like, come with the doctor.
Yeah, they just take him out of traffic. They straight take him out of traffic.
There's 3 roads in this town. Why is there traffic?
But then they go back to Mozart, and he's like, you're full of shit. You switched the goats. Here, I'm going to drink this fake powder.
Yeah.
And that's how you do
basically. I love that he built in, she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just giving us a reason to wait for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Just shut up, you're blowing the cover.
Buying some time.
I love that he did that, because I'm like, they don't ever do that in movies. They're like, just say that, like we're just shut up, bitch. Like, we're trying to fucking. Oh, Mozart, how are you? Yeah, what's that? So you're still alive.
Well, he explains in great detail because he shows her the powder still. So he was prepared with an explanation for her.
He's like, hey, look at this. Put your penis away. Oh, sorry. I was possessed.
And then he's like, fine, I'll make you the real potion. But it's definitely $1,000 now. Yeah. It's definitely my full price.
He's fully like, it went from 100 to 500 to 1,000 back to 500. And now he's like, okay, I'll give you the real powder for 1,000.
Mm-hmm, but you have to help me make it because there's rules.
Yeah.
I guess. See, that's why you're going to have a voodoo guy, because all those symbols he makes in the dirt and all that, like, you guys can't make that in the lab. You don't know what that shit is. Like,
yeah, so they start making it, and then that's when he gets taken again by the secret police.
So this
like, you son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happens when you donate your body to medical science. They're bought up by Big Pharma to have your bones crushed. So
for
you can
voodoo
do
rituals.
So we can make.
We're creating a whole conspiracy
anesthesia.
theory.
Yeah, we're gonna get shut down
right now.
If you don't hear from us next week on the PSA, they've taken us.
But he gets a nail through the scrot, and he says it's just a little pain and a little terror. Although they do bloodily dump him on Maricel's doorstep with bloody chonies.
Well, the thing that happens before that, though, is he keeps telling me he wants to hear him scream, and he tells him to scream.
Oh, yeah, not good enough.
Not
good enough.
And then he does the
nail. And he does the nail thing, which just made me cringe. I'm like, I would have fucking left right then and there. Be like, nope.
Peace.
Nope.
I'm out.
Like, I'm gone. He's like, I don't need holes in my ball sack. I'm gone.
But the making of the powder is very intricate. And even with 2 holes in his nutsack, on the way back to the jungle they go to finish this powder ritual.
With his inflatable donut to sit on.
Something to sit on.
I'm fine. Just 2 holes in my sack.
Yeah, but then they say they finish the ritual, and then it has to sit with her for 1 more night, I think is what he says.
It has to be buried with her.
Yeah, for a certain amount of time. I don't remember how long he says.
24 hours.
Something like that. But then they go to this beach house, and again, he's just shit at hiding because, I mean, he's the only white dude for how many miles?
And the only beach house on this whole beach that we see. Yeah, but wait. What happens if you take it out before the 24 hours? Does it not work? I have questions.
It doesn't marinate long enough and it's with the voodoo priestess body. And so it doesn't bring you back, or it doesn't zombie you up enough. It only lasts for 8 hours instead of 12.
Oh, that's the thing. It's so maximum strength. You got to do 24 hours.
Yes,
so.
precisely.
Jeez.
But the voodoo bride priestess and the jaguar comes to visit Dr. Allen in his dreams.
She came back and she's like, "You smashed my head, you fucking asshole."
Yeah, you smashed my head. You took some of my bones, you dick.
I tried to warn you, and now you got 2 holes in your sack, you fucking moron.
Stupid ass.
She was just pissed at that point. Kicking him.
Whatever comes next.
She just came
in
to beat his ass in her wedding dress and soccer shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then the dream turned really dark, and then Dr. Allen finds himself in a blood-filled coffin.
Yeah.
I like that part as well.
It's a lot of blood. It's probably the only blood, I think, really, other than like the little blood here and there that you see on him and other stuff. But it's the most gore throughout the whole thing, and it's just like he's drowning in blood, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which again, terror.
Yeah.
Drowning in blood.
The whole scene is just
coffin.
his terror while the blood
because
fills.
he sees the view from the coffin when he's being buried alive. His other foreshadow, which is like, all right, hello. They're trying to fucking tell you.
But then he wakes up to find a beheaded woman in bed with him, which is never a good thing.
Seriously, they keep giving him signs for him to leave this fucking place, and he's a dumb idiot. It's
really his fault. Stupid white man can't take the hint to get out of it.
He's not taking any of the... If he had seen The Godfather, he'd be able to get the hints
him.
Oh, they did.
Fucking, like, we can
framed him for murder. Yeah.
Well, he threatened him with framing them for murder.
He's like, look, I got pictures of you in bed with a dead body. Your last helicopter pilot that you had in the other country died. We could just say that you're going to country killing people.
I don't know, man. You could have called the pharmaceutical company and be like, look, they're trying to pin me on this. Oh, okay. Yeah, Dave, we need a Section 12 happening in Haiti on there. Like, they framed him for one of those murders again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, here's the check. Yeah. Oh, is it Ray Trott? Hey, tell him I said hello.
I love how, though, like, the guy, they take Dr. Allen and they put him on the plane. And they're like, you're going home. Like,
they freaking chalk him on that. You're like, you're not leaving our site until we put your ass on that plane.
But this is where Mozart, and I love crafty-ass Mozart in this plane scene, because he comes back with his little, like, airline shirt on. He's got his helpers.
No, he went in there, grabbed a few meals, and was like, hey, I'm going to give you this powder.
And he's like, you got my money? You got my money, Blanc? I need my money.
I know. It was funny to me that when the head cop guy or whatever was taking Dennis out and putting him up into the plane, like he was like knocking over some of the other like actual like tourists that were getting on the plane. And I'm like, yeah, like, how was your vacation in Haiti? Like, well, we saw this man attack another man with a machete at dinner the other night. And then when we were getting on the plane to come home, the police brought this other guy with a gun and, like, almost knocked us over. And then we had to sit next to him and, like, get this weird powder, told us all the stories about zombies and shit.
Very awkward. Yeah.
So, yeah, we didn't. And, okay, not to mention the fact that this movie started out being filmed in Haiti, but then halfway through the production, they're like, we have an actual civil war going on, so we can't guarantee your safety. And they had to move and film the rest of the movie in the Dominican Republic. So, wasn't just acting there.
Yeah. No, but so he comes, Mozart's got the powder in his little baby food jar they left in. Yeah. But he's brought it. It has marinated well enough for the full maximum strength, so he can now take it back to the U.S. Yes, it's yellow now.
It looked like saffron or something at that point.
And Mozart takes his watch, which is fair, very fair. I mean, he owed him 1,000.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. But he gets back home, and everybody's like, "Don't go back to Haiti, stupid ass." Like, look, you barely made it out of there.
They put holes in your balls. They godfathered you, and your dumbass still wants to go back.
It was just the Saxol. It wasn't his balls. I think his balls are intact.
He said he was intact, so, but either way.
It was still a nail through your ball sack. It's still.
Hey,
no.
I bet there's people out there that have that pierced. The sack pierced.
Well, good on them, but still, though, if you don't want that, it was forced upon him.
They should have sent Mo from the stuff. He could have got this done in a couple days, man. Mo would have got to the bottom of it.
Mo would have been in and out, yeah. Oh, but I love that he's just at dinner all of a sudden. Like, it goes straight to him being in his rich pharmaceutical, like, life again, basically.
And that wife was like, hey, Dr. Allen.
No, and I love this scene because it's very much a contrast of where he was in Haiti to, like, the rich white America. And, like, it's such a contrast.
And even Alfred makes that joke, like, dysentery, malaria, it's just stomach problems. Yes. Third world countries and whatnot.
I know, and I love how, like, it's basically the only time we don't see Dr. Allen just covered in fucking sweat either.
Yeah.
You can totally tell in all these, like, South America plays and even in Haiti, like, just drenched in sweat.
Yeah, because even Marielle makes a joke of it. She's like, I'll see if I have some clothes for you because you stink like shit.
Yeah. Like, you can't handle the heat here, Dr. Allen.
She was like, you smell like sex. Did you have sex with someone? He's like, oops.
Like, maybe.
But Dr. Dennis starts to see some crazy shit crawling out of his green soup. And was that like a green bean soup? What was that?
It was, cream of bean.
Green bean? I was like, this is weird.
I don't know what it was, but that soup did not look appealing.
I know. Why does rich food always not look good? Like,
I don't
shouldn't
know.
it look better than what I eat? Like,
you would think.
Yeah.
I eat crap, and I'm like, this looks better than that. Like.
But then Deb stands up to give a speech and takes a bite out of her glass.
She was giving serious doomy eyes.
She just starts straight and eat her glass and just.
She was giving straight doomy eyes to. It was a little bit horrible bosses to me.
Yeah, because then she goes from that to trying to kill Dr. Allen. She takes a swing at him with
Ray
a knife.
Trod took over at that point or whatever. Yeah.
So and then he immediately goes back to Haiti.
Because at that point, you kind of fucking have to, though.
Go back to Haiti?
Yes, because you got to finish this shit now. It's like, all right, look, I left and I got what I wanted and I'm done. And then he came back and was like, I'm going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. So it's either I can never go back to work at the pharmaceutical company because Jack's wife tried to fucking kill me at dinner the other night, or I'm going to go finish this fucking shit. So you have to at that point. You can't run away anymore. Well, plus, he's always going to find you and be in your dream. So there's no running. You can't run from your own mind.
Okay. So he gets back to Haiti because he makes really smart choices. And Lucien comes to save the day.
It's the only choice at this point.
I thought it was funny how he immediately went back there and they knew he was coming.
Oh, yeah. They were waiting.
They busted him right away. Yeah.
They were all waiting. Like, even Lucien was waiting for him. He was like, I knew you were going to need to get away.
Yeah. Have you just been waiting every flight?
Yes. We knew your ass was coming back. But then we see poor Mozart loses his head.
We don't see him lose his head, but that would have been cool to see.
It would have made it gorier. We should have seen Mozart lose his head. But okay, so then the guy, he drinks blood. Was that Mozart's blood?
I assumed
it was too. Okay.
Is that part of the ritual to control them?
But I'm like, how does drinking Mozart's blood kill Lucien? I don't get it. Like, I need some, I guess,
I don't know.
some A to B to C voodoo things.
Voodoo for dummies.
Some voodoo charts. I need to see how it works.
If we have any Haitian voodoo priests that are listening to our podcast, please email us.
Email us.
We have questions.
Mm-hmm. But then he gives us one great one-liner before he leaves, and death is not the end. Lucien says.
Before his scorpion burp.
And right before Dr. Allen gets zombie drugged.
Yeah.
And stumbles around going, don't let them bury me.
I know, like, they probably don't even know what the fuck you're saying.
I know, like, write a note, man. Stop trying to tell people. Just pin something to your shirt or something, man.
This is why you should always have pen and paper. Just a little notepad and a pen. You're like, I'm not dead. Don't bury me for 15 plus hours.
And I love the standard throwaway doctor. It's like, no need, doctor. I'll make all the arrangements. I'll sign all the paperwork.
Well,
don't worry
I don't know
about it.
how shitty of a doctor that you have to be in America. Like how shitty of grades you have to get, or how shitty of a doctor you actually have to be that you're a doctor in Haiti.
I think some people go there
doctor
because
in
they
Haiti.
They don't have money, so they just go. Isn't that what Doctors Without Borders?
That guy was young though.
I don't know.
You mean like as a volunteer? Like I don't mean that. He looked like he was there because there was a nun behind him, like he was in some like missionary thing or thing.
Well, yeah. So he was like a Catholic doctor or some shit.
Well, that's just dumb then. So, yeah. Then how shitty of a doctor do you have to be? They're like, oh, we're gonna send Cliff to Haiti.
Cliff's going to Haiti.
Someone's got.
I'm just taking it as a doctor who got barred from practicing medicine. I was like, well, I'm still gonna make money somehow. Let me go to another country where they don't know who I am.
See,
that's
you
could
make
be.
up your own subplot for this thing because it's had to be.
But he's got all the arrangements made. He's got the coffin. He's got the spider.
Doesn't he say something like I should call the embassy or whatever? He's like, no, don't worry.
Like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of everything.
I got this. Like, we got this.
All right, well, no paperwork for me to fill out. Score.
And then you got
why. People got stolen on his watch in America. That's why he's there. They're like, all right, sweet.
And then you get the shot of just a shot of the Bokor talking to Dr. Allen. And it's like, I'm not going to shut your eyes. You're going to see all of this. And that's another cycle. I think this was Wes' like real like first try to do psychological horror, because I think that's maybe this is just an 80s version of psychological horror.
Yeah, it could be, because it's definitely like he wants you to feel that terror, and
he wants to give you your own.
And you're
terror.
Getting the POV of that terror.
Yeah, and it makes it your own. So I think he was trying to play with less fictional horror and more psychological horror, but he does play up the lore because that's Wes.
Yeah.
Plus, we don't know what was in the book, so there
could have been a lot of that true. This is material. A book. But yep, he gets buried with a spider.
And I really think that the people on the street when he was after they drugged him, whatever you want to call it, right? And the one guy's like, no. I'm like, no, this is just a movie, man. No, he's not a real zombie. Like, those people were terrified. Like, there was some great acting, and those extras like, don't touch me.
So, Paul, could you do the being buried alive scene? Like, could you do the whole them like hammering the thing in and like?
I could do it.
Not moving. Saul, do you think you could do it?
If you made me comfortable enough, I probably could. If they're shooting it for a movie, be like, put some damn pillows in there, put some damn mattress in there or something. Give me something to drink.
Something to drink?
Headphones.
No, you're supposed to be dead. You have to be dead.
You're filming the scene.
Yes, I'm saying you're filming the scene.
You're not just playing for 10 minutes.
The scene, but once they get you in there, though, like, make me comfortable.
No, I'm saying like just being in that, have them nailing on the coffin thing where you have to look with your eyes open. You have nothing in your ears. You have no comfort. You can't blink. You have to lay there and you have to do this scene over and over and over again. Could you do it?
If you pay me a lot of money, then yes.
I don't think
because I have demands and I have stipulations, and those would be it. Be like, if you don't pay me this much amount of money, then you're not getting me to do it.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't lay there still enough while they were nailing the thing. I'd be like, nope.
You know, that's probably all post. Right?
I'd better be post because
I didn't really nail him in there.
If I had to lay there in those nails, I'd be like, my body would be like, my body would take over and be like, we need to move. We got to get out of here.
Why? Because what's the worst that could happen? Like, okay, when he comes back out of it before Christoph like unburies him or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's the worry, right? If fucking Beatrix Kiddo can get out of the coffin, then why can't he, right? I think you could do it. I think you could do it.
Well, I am
maybe not like the metal ones and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Not the ones that we have today, for sure. But like the Beatrix Kiddo one, I was always like, that's kind of thick. But those Haiti ones, I could probably punch through because they were pretty.
Oh man, I think you could do it.
I don't know. I've totally practiced that punch thing at least a few times. I totally have, just in case I get stuck.
Angie, I'm telling you, if they paid you enough, you probably would. Everybody's got a price.
I don't know. Well, if they paid
What's your price, Saul, then? Because I'm going to start a GoFundMe so we can bury you for 12 hours.
For 12 hours?
12 hours.
12 hours? You give me like $12 million or something like that. I'll do it.
Somebody would do it for $50. I bet we could find somebody.
I don't care.
For $50.
For 12 hours.
If somebody's going to do it
even for 12
let them do it
hours.
for $50. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to cost you $1 million an hour because I'm going to take a nap.
That's fair.
No one pays you to nap now, so what makes you think they don't want to pay? So who's going to fund this, Saul?
I told you it's going to cost you a lot of money, and I already take naps, but it's not inside a coffin. That's the difference.
I'm going to buy you a coffin. Just This is like a date.
I'm not going to happen unless you pay me. And I told you what my price is going to be.
But yeah, Kristoff comes to save Dr. Allen from the grave, so he doesn't even have to Beatrix kiddo that shit. Like, Kristoff just, like, puppy dog paddles his way out of there.
So wait, what happens to like Kristoff and the other zombies like during the day? Because he was like, he controls me and makes me do things at night and visit people's dreams and shit like that. So I'm like, do you gotta eat still? And like,
yeah, he's still a human. He's alive.
So I'm like, what do you do during the day? So it's like, I gotta go to work and shit like normal, but then it's like at night I'm a fucking zombie and
no,
gotta
he
visit
hangs out
people's
at the
dreams.
cemetery. He just hangs out at the cemetery.
Yeah, I thought he said he couldn't leave the cemetery. He says, I can't leave. That's
I don't remember if he said that, but yeah.
Yeah, he
so
was like, I don't
You
belong where the living are. I stay where the dead are.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but he went to the hospital at one of the points where the fucking doctor first examined him.
Maybe he was hungry. I don't know.
No, that's...
Or maybe his sister saw him and was like, hey, come with me.
Well, if he's still alive, he's got to take his shit somewhere, is my question.
In the
They went to the
graveyard.
hospital, they got bathrooms.
Like, don't go to that graveyard. Don't go to that grave. I mean, like, that one's not a real grave.
Did you see where those people lived and like those shacks? Do you think most of those people had plumbing? And especially like it was a worn toward country.
Do you think there's like an outhouse at the fucking cemetery though? Like,
I don't know.
You still have to go find somewhere to go to the bathroom.
I don't know.
What
the
is
jungle
is
your
I have
bathroom.
questions, man. What
The jungle is your bathroom, Paul.
The jungle is your bathroom.
Find a corner somewhere in that little town or whatever need be and go to the bathroom.
But what really saves the day for Dr. Allen, what really just solidifies his triumphant return in Haiti was the government downfall.
Yeah.
The government ends up
revolution.
fleeing Haiti, so all the secret police now are fucked.
More so, that saves Marielle's ass.
That does save Marielle.
Because she was about to get whacked. Like, her head was about to get whacked off.
I love, though, when Dr. Allen is heading to save Marielle's, and, like, he's still all, like, zombie, like... like
I know, and why did Ray Trod make him get up? He's like, get up, Dr. Allen.
You know, I'm not finished with you. Like, what do you expect him to do?
Okay, here's my thing. The first fucking time they went, before he makes him get on the plane, right? He takes them into that underground, you know, his voodoo basement, right? Because they go past the chair, and he's like, we're way past that, doctor. And they go down there, and he's like, see this? This is the soul of somebody. I'm like, right there. I'm like, hit his hand. Hit his hand.
Just knock it out.
And I'm like, knock all that shit over. Because I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? If it does nothing, like, at least he doesn't have those anymore, right? And I'm like, either way.
He's got a mess to clean up.
Either way, like, something's going to happen. You know, it might not be big. I mean, we didn't expect it to be as big as it was at the end or whatever, but like, what does it hurt? Horror PSA. Just break shit. You're going to die anyway.
Just break shit. Yeah.
You're going to die anyway. Just break shit. Go for the nostrils and the eyes and break shit.
You're going to make a mess. So the worst that's going to happen is that you're going to make a mess and somebody's got to clean it.
Best case scenario, you release somebody's soul. There you go.
Yeah.
Win-win for everybody.
I love when he goes back and he sees Julianne, and when Julianne is being controlled by Ray Trott and
Lucien
is like, what was I saying?
Julian.
Like fries.
Yeah, you said Julian.
Yeah, when he's controlling Lucien and he's like yelling and he's like, you did this. Like, your work did. I wrote down, your work made me rip my own head off. That was the coolest scene.
That was a cool scene. I was like, is this the thing all of a sudden? Because that was a gooey head,
like,
too.
It's your fault. Yeah. After the fuck you chair scene, because he's like, the chair turns and he was like, all right.
The scrotum chair chases him is what I wrote.
We're going to get even with you, chair.
Why does the bad guy's hair go white?
I don't know.
I was like, is he scared that his downfall is coming? I don't know.
I'm assuming that maybe, like, was it after or before the jars got broken?
It was before.
Yeah, okay. So maybe either there was something on him or, you know, it was something to do with voodoo. It was draining his power. He didn't have enough power to make his hair black anymore. I don't know.
I love, though, there's twice that he does this. He flies at Dr. Allen ninja style, like full body. Like, I was like, this is
that's
kung
like a
fu.
full,
This is like Liu Kang.
Man.
Like,
that's like a tiger pounce when he just jumps at him.
I was like, this is acrobatic all of a sudden.
He's very sprightly for an old
He is.
priest.
But they fight, and then he figures out that he needs to smash the jars. Dr. Allen finally gets the hint that you got to smash the jars. He smashes all the jars, releases all the rainbows. But death is not the end, right?
Well, and, you know, his jaguar spirit animal comes and, you know, like, whatever, and jumps on him.
Yep.
I'm going to take you to hell with me.
Oh, I love when he comes back and he's all burnt, and then he just gets strapped in the scrote chair. And does the devil take him? Who takes him down?
I don't know. Voodoo takes him down.
Voodoo. All right.
Yeah. Voodoo takes him into the depths of hell. And
after
why'd they let him out?
He gets a nail to the scrote.
Like, why'd they let him out, huh? They let him out of hell long enough to just come back to fight and try and take Dr. Dennis with them, and then they strap him to the chair and bring him back.
I know. I'm like, how did you? Maybe he got out. Maybe that was a trick. He got out, and he was like, "You're coming with me."
He turned and ran when nobody was looking for a second.
Yep. But then maybe that's why he got the nail to the scrote, because they were mad.
And if you know that smashing those jars are gonna kill you, why wouldn't you put them somewhere where nobody knows where they are?
And don't have them all displayed
like wrapped in a bunch of bubble wrap and locked in a case somewhere that nobody knows.
Hide them behind something. Put them in a safe deposit box.
Anywhere but a rickety shelf in a
rickety board shelf.
Creepy voodoo basement under
It's a voodoo den, Paul. Get it right.
The voodoo lair.
There you go.
My voodoo lair.
The voodoo crypt.
Yes.
The voodoo crypt.
Yeah.
Speaking of crypt, there was a Tales from the Crypt episode that was very similar to this, where it was like a doctor with a drug thing.
See, that's where I learned my voodoo stuff was Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, I got a lot of my voodoo information from there.
This one was more drug-wise. It was like the actual drug thing. Like somebody pranked somebody with it. Like they injected them, and then the guy got to see all the stuff like they were giving him an autopsy, and then he wakes up and it was like,
I have seen that episode.
We were
just
kidding. Yeah. And then he actually does have something wrong with him. So Tales from the Crypt.
I've seen that. Yep.
Could you do the spider face scene?
I could do the spider face scene easy. Spiders don't creep me out. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Saul, could you do the spider face scene?
Probably.
All right, I'm gonna get a spider and we'll do it.
The snake thing I couldn't do. Snakes are too unpredictable. Like, that fucker's gonna bite me. It ain't crawling over my ass.
Bite him back. Fine.
Like, if he bites me, I'm gonna bite him back too. Like, you fucker.
Ew. That's how you get something, guys.
If he bites you, you bite him back. Be like, hey,
snakes don't have feet.
Like, it sucks,
his whole belly is his feet, so you're just biting his feet.
I don't care. He bites me, I'm biting him back. Be like, it sucks, doesn't
bite
it?
the top part.
His bare feet.
If you're biting the top part that doesn't touch the ground, it's not feet then.
Oh, still.
Yeah.
Fine, bite his head then.
Like, fucker.
Bite the head off.
Bite him back.
Mm-hmm.
Saul, we're going to get a snake so you can bite its head off. Right?
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that.
If he bites me first, then I will bite him back.
We're not biting any animals unless they bite you first.
Yes.
And even then, if it was called for, then it's probably your fault.
What about that dude that punched the bear, huh? Whose fault was that?
What dude?
This is just recently. Somebody punched a bear.
I didn't hear about the bear one. I heard about the shark one, though. Did you hear about the shark one?
I thought it was a bear one.
No, his girlfriend was getting attacked by a shark, and the dude straight up punched it.
You punch it in the nose. You punch it in the nose and then poke its eyes. I'm telling you.
So, if you're ever getting attacked by a wild animal, kids, go for the eyes.
If you're ever getting attacked by anyone and you're about to die, the eyes and the nose.
We probably said this.
Nostrils.
We definitely got into the nostril talk before.
It's underlooked.
Just be scrappy. You got to make it not worth to kill you. That's really all you got to do.
Well, how do you do that against voodoo, though?
I don't know. Don't believe in it.
Shit your pants a lot. That's what you do. That's the answer.
Carry salt, shit your pants a lot.
Yeah.
There you go.
Salt and shit your pants, and hopefully, oh, God, not that smelly ass zombie again.
Yeah, you want me as a zombie?
Yeah. We're just gonna hang out here all day.
Gross. Technically, zombies would do that either way.
Get out.
Even real zombies. I was about to say.
Even
as those zombies that we know as an American culture, that they would still have to. Their poop would just fall out of them. The dead body parts that they eat still would go through their digestive tract because it's just the way our bodies work.
So then, at some point, is it if you're the the American version of zombies or whatever you want to say? At some point, are you just eating and it's just coming straight out of you the same way it came in, like Casper?
I would assume so because you were still decomposing the whole time, right?
Well, if your body's not, breaking down stuff, then you're just eating chunks of stuff and it's coming out as those same chunks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So there's a trail of zombie poop that's just actual human remains.
Yep.
This is what they miss in the zombie comedies, right?
Yep.
This is what you need. Like no one ever talks about this. The zombie shit. And eventually it's just like an earlobe and a fucking nose and like
because they would just decompose. There'd be nothing left.
Yeah, like they wouldn't even be decomposed. I'm saying like the body parts, right? Like, So it would just fall out.
Oh, but anyway, that's the end of this movie, and we find out it was a true story. And okay, kids, when I see true story,
Inspired.
I go super sleuth. I don't care if it says based on, inspired by. I go super sleuth, and I'm like, how close? Because I needs to know.
Well, you got to read the book, though. But I'm sure the book is even a work of fiction based on this.
Oh yeah, it's pure fiction. And yes, he did go to these places, and he watched the thing. You know, he got the powder and everything. He watched him make it, but obviously he didn't get kidnapped by secret police.
I know, because even the end was like he learned the secrets of this and that.
Yeah, basically he was an anthropologist doing his job and traveled around and learned different cultures. Mm-hmm.
So basically all these stories are like the shit you would tell people to impress them. Like, oh, I heard you just got back from the Amazon. Like, yes, I went to this institute and I talked to these doctors and we learned about this. And it was like,
I was part of a voodoo ritual. And the white people clutch their pearls.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I got a nail through my ball sack. Want to see?
It's just a flesh wound. It's a mere flesh wound. All in the name of science.
That's a lot of blood for just a couple holes through the sack. Like,
you don't know.
Like, and it's a good thing that he was wearing tighty whities, because I think if you had boxers on, then there'd probably been a lot more blood too.
Yeah, but I don't know. Tighty whities. I don't know.
At least there was some.
Maybe scrotes bleed a lot. I mean, there's got to be a lot of blood vessels down there, right? Maybe
at least there was.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a bleeding spot.
At least it was there to hold everything together, so nothing like fell out. You know, I don't know how big the holes.
Yeah,
were,
I don't think it was big enough for a ball to fall out or anything.
See, well, either way, tighty whities were the right call that day.
Yeah.
That week, because he never changed or brought any fucking clothes. He left everything with the free bacon back in his hotel room. And all he took was his little knapsack.
Yeah. And then those chonies were a couple days old.
After he had that sweaty, gross sex?
Yes. Definitely an infection.
With
he needs to shower and get some Bactin or something.
Well, he went a shower and some disinfectant.
Well, she was at least a doctor, but she was like, we have no medical supplies. We're in a hospital where it's easier to just chain people to the wall than do anything else. So
she probably stitched him up with nothing, no anesthesia.
Just
threw some alcohol on top of it, called it good.
Grabbed a needle and some rum and run it over the candle real hot, and then just
we're just making a whole different kind of movie out of this.
Yes, sir.
We're getting into the logistics of scrotal stitching.
Yes.
Yes.
Liberté.
But anyway, the drug he found was it does not create zombies. So don't get your hopes up by the end.
What does the drug do? The Texadoxoxide.
It does paralyze. It paralyzes, like it blocks nerve receptors, basically, is what it does.
It's probably used in shit still.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a drug that we manufacture these days, and we use it. You could research it on Google, and it'll come up and tell you what it's in now. So.
Oh yeah. So this zombie drug from Hades and all your favorite pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
And that was it.
It's not your standard horror.
I want to know what it's in now. Damn. Why don't you research that?
It's not your standard horror. It definitely plays on your own fears, like being buried alive and being lost in a jungle, getting eaten by snakes. I don't know what your fears are, but. I don't know. Those are my final thoughts. I think you guys kind of already went into yours. I don't know if we need to do a standards final thoughts.
I think whatever your fears are, there's something in this movie that you're like, okay, wouldn't want that to happen to me. So not even so much that maybe you're afraid of it. It's just that you're like, nope, I could definitely see how that would not be good for anyone. Fuck birds, man. If they come at you, punch them right in the beak. That's all I got to say.
In the beak, Cotton.
In the beak. I love this movie. There's a lot of nostalgia from it. Definitely saw this as, probably like 9 or 10 or whenever it came to HBO. HBO was a less source for a lot of my horror. I mean, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, yeah. HBO had all the best horror.
Yeah. I think, I really feel like, they had a lot of stuff before people were really showing horror. Yeah, a lot of nostalgia for this movie. I definitely think, it's not as gory as it could be or should be even. There's a lot of great stuff in there. It is a lot of terror and fear and just trying to put you in a place that you're uncomfortable, I think, is what he was going for. Like I think he just really wanted to make you uncomfortable, and with the back kind of thought of this could kind of happen in real life. I mean, with an exception of some of the embellishments, I'm sure. But overall, I think it's a good movie. Don't go into it expecting a lot of gore. It's more story-driven, I think. But it has the dread, so give it a shot. It's not bad. I like it. We're also going to be replacing Saul because he hated it. So we'll deal with that next week.
I didn't say I hated it. I just said I didn't like it.
Oh, he's backtracking now, folks.
He got bored is what he said.
I got bored. And to me, it's not for everybody. It's just one of those movies too where, like Paul said, don't go in expecting a lot of gore. If anything, you're going to go into it, expect a lot of story, a lot of lore, a lot of back stuff, a lot of that backstory stuff on there. If anything, it's a slow burn to where it finally hits the fan at the end. But other than that, it was what it was. I got bored during it. I don't know if you will, but to me, I got bored. But either way, if you want to watch it, it's a Wes Craven movie, so go into that knowing it's a Wes Craven movie. Okay, so if you have Shudder, there is something that I have a high recommendation for. I don't know if you guys have watched it yet. It's called In the Shadows. It is about a 4-hour-long documentary on horror movies from the 80s. We've got about an hour and a half into it. In the darkness. We've gotten into about an hour and a half of it, and holy crap, it is very, very good. So far, there's been 4 movies that we've done a podcast on that if you've listened to those, you will appreciate this much more. The ones that we've seen, that we've reviewed, that we've done on, were Maniac, The Burning, Evil Dead, and American Werewolf. I know there's probably going to be more of the ones that we've done on our podcast on this documentary. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend watching it. It has been good so far for the first hour and a half that we've been into it.
Yeah, you can't watch that whole 4-hour thing in one sitting. There's no way. When you have children, you got to break it up.
Yeah. The first hour and a half we've seen so far has been really, really good. And like I said, if you have not seen it or have thinking about watching it, I highly, highly recommend it. And it's on Shudder.
It's got a lot of great reviews. A lot of people on Twitter and social media in general are really buzzing about it. If you don't have Shudder, do a free trial. You get like a 7-day free trial. You've got Joe Bob. You've got
and seriously, it's like $60 for the whole year.
Yeah,
if you watch Joe Bob, you've paid for it.
Yeah, it's great. They've got all the Joe Bobs they've done. He's done 2 seasons so far.
Creepshow's coming back. Creepshow season 2. They've got a lot of great original movies. They've been picking up really great original movies lately. So we're all Shudder fans here at the Horror PSA. It's well worth it in this household and in Saul's household.
If you are a fan of horror, I highly recommend just get Shudder. Like Angie said, it's $60 for the year, and it's just horror movies galore. And you will enjoy it.
And they update them every month. So at very least, you'll have something different to watch every month. That's new for horror. And they have a lot of great foreign things on there, too.
A lot of international stuff that you
We're not paid by Shudder. We're not affiliated with them in any way.
But if Shudder wants to pay us. Something that's providing a good service.
Yes, but if Shudder would like to pay us, so Craig, we are here to be paid.
Craig Engler, if
you're listening out there, Craig.
Throw some dollars out this way.
We'd have no bones about plugging for you guys,
So that was my piece on it. Again, if you have it, and if you haven't seen that documentary, I highly recommend it.
Well, that was a very good way for you to say goodbye to the fans, Saul.
What are you talking about?
Paul's still angry if you're not liking this movie.
You can be mad at me all you want.
What was this is strike 2? I want you to know, Saul. What was strike 1?
I don't
remember. I forget.
I don't remember what strike 1 was.
But yeah, you're on thin ice here. I think Kim's chomping at the bit to get on this, so.
No. She's conspicuous in her absence.
That is it for this week. We are coming back next week with our final Wes Craven film, Deadly Friend, starring Kristy Swanson. And who else is in that movie?
The mom.
Mom.
Throw Mama from the Train.
And Goonies.
I don't remember her real name.
I don't either.
Yeah, the lady from the Goonies.
Hi, man! Yes, she's the mom.
Every time I see that, I just heard her yelling at Danny DeVito at the top of her lungs. Hi, man! You don't have a cousin!
Mm-hmm. But anyway, we're coming.
That was little Babe Vigoda.
We'll be back next week with Deadly Friend. I think it's just Deadly Friend.
My Deadly Friend? No.
Yeah.
But you can check us out
Deadly Kristy Swanson is what we'll call it.
Okay, well, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/scarynerd. You can find more horror entertainment news at scarynerd.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, rope 8 of your friends into listening to this podcast and tell them it's amazing. If you want stickers, feel free to email us at podcast@scarynerd.com. We can send you guys some stickers. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you can also email us. And that is it for this week. Anything else, guys?
Special shout out to all of our friends and fans on Twitter. We've got a lot of love on Twitter lately, so if you haven't followed us yet, please do. And we live tweet along with Joe Bob when he's back in whenever season 3 starts. We just did
There will be a Halloween special, I heard today. They announced today there's going to be a Halloween Joe Bob special, so we always live tweet that. So check us out. Come love us. Share the horror nerdy fun. The nerdy horror fun.
Share the hair.
And we will see you guys next week.
The hair.
Yeah, that should be a werewolf episode. Share the hair.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.